We all know the movie Unfriended. Lord knows I've talked about it on this channel enough. A bunch of teens go on Skype, there's a ghost, and they all die. This type of movie has become a subgenre within a subgenre. It's a found footage movie, but from the perspective of a computer screen. There's Unfriended, Searching, Missing, a Host, but the thing with all these movies is that they're modern. I mean, if you consider Skype to be modern. But what if I told you there was one of these movies that took place in the 90s? May I introduce you to Deadware? If you're thinking this movie was made in the 90s, no, sorry to clickbait you. It takes place in the 90s and was released in 2021. It's about two friends who just bought webcams for the first time and decide to test out a video call. And what do they decide to do on this video call? They decide to play a scary online video game, and it turns out the game might have some real-life consequences. This movie feels like a YouTube analog horror video, and hey, I've talked about those before. Based on its late 90s aesthetic, they're playing a video game, there are PNG jump scares. I know some of you might be turned off when I said PNG jump scares, but those are within the video game, so it makes sense within the context of the movie. There are other genuinely scary stuff that aren't jump scares. For the horror aspect, it mainly relies on atmosphere of these people being in a dark room late at night, only lit by the glow of their old 90s computer, and the horror comes from us, the viewer, slowly connecting the dots and figuring out just how screwed these characters are. They don't actually start playing the video game until 10 minutes into the movie. The first 10 minutes are the two friends, Megan and Jay, just catching up with each other. They haven't seen each other in a while, and to some, this might just be boring fluff put at the beginning of the movie, but actually, one, it's written very well. The dialogue is basically how I talk to my friends when I haven't seen them in a really long time. There's that closeness, but since it's been a while, you still are kind of awkward with each other. And two, everything they mention in this conversation will be brought up again when the scary stuff starts happening, so it's not a complete waste. And then after that, the majority of the movie is them playing this video game. And when I say that, you might be like, well, if this whole movie is just people playing a scary video game, it can't be any scarier than watching Markiplier play Five Nights at Freddy's.
So the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through.
But that's not true because, this has the advantage of being a scripted movie, and it takes advantage of the fluidity of genre. It's part YouTube analog horror, it's part horror movie, it's part scary game let's play, and I think that's great. And this is a good time to mention that this movie is only an hour and 8 minutes long. It's super short, so it's not like you're watching these people play a video game for 90 minutes straight, even though those videos do exist on YouTube. There's no fat on this thing, it just flies by, and they're not playing the video game for a full hour. They do pause to stop and talk to each other and have real meaningful character developing moments. I've talked a lot about the game they're playing, but I haven't really talked about the game they're playing.
Welcome to the House of Hunger. Inside, you will guide yourself through the endless rooms and hallways in order to make it out alive. Choose the wrong door and your soul will be stuck in here forever.
It's called House of Hunger. It's a point-and-click online game where you're making your way through a scary house. There's lots of demonic imagery and, as I mentioned, PNG jump scares. But that's not the scary part. What's scary is that the game knows information about Megan and Jay that it shouldn't know. There's even one part where Megan finds a picture of herself within the game.
Am I tripping, or does that painting kind of look like
me?
Yeah.
Which leads you to wonder who made this game, why did they do it, and why are they targeting Megan and Jay? But whatever is going on, it seems to be linked to Megan and Jay's old friend Amy, who the three of them used to all be in a friend group until one day she sort of just disappeared and stopped talking to everyone. During the beginning, Megan is like, oh yeah, I haven't talked to Amy in a really long time. I should reach out to her. So she messages her through AIM, which is AOL Instant Messenger for all my fellow Gen Zers out there. And Amy's away message is like, hey, it's Amy. Sorry I'm away. I'm too busy playing House of Hunger. And that's when Megan and Jay are like, I wonder what House of Hunger is. They look it up online, and boom, the movie has started. The character of Amy and the idea of Amy is an integral part to understanding the themes of this movie and making sense of that wild ending. I hope you listening right now are on the edge of your seat wondering what this mystery is about the game. And good, you should, because that's how I felt watching it. It does a great job of building suspense, posing questions, and it doesn't necessarily handhold you through the answers. A lot of it you have to be making sense of it yourself, which I genuinely appreciated. And the video game aspect, I think, is particularly effective in this genre. As you might recall, one of my big problems with the Unfriended movie is that there's not really a driving force of the plot. It's just these characters are sort of stranded here, and the only thing they can do is play Never Have I Ever.
Easy one. Never have I ever had sex.
But with the video game, it sort of sets a path for the characters to go down, and they have to follow the video game and complete the video game sort of Jumanji style to escape their situation. Except one of my critiques is that it never is explicitly stated that they have to finish the video game, and it leaves you wondering what their motivation is for finishing the game. When things get really scary, Jay gets up and he's like, hey, I don't want to play anymore, this is freaking me out. But Megan just wants to keep going, and we don't really learn why Megan wants to keep going. My first initial thought was, oh, Megan is secretly a bad guy, and she wants to trap Jay into playing this game and for whatever reason, for evil purposes, but that's not true. And then the other theory was like, oh, well, the game probably has answers about what happened to Amy, and Megan wants to find out what happened to Amy, so she needs to finish the game, which is a really good idea, except it's never explicitly stated out loud. And my other theory is that just playing the game uses some like magic mind control thing on you to where it's like, oh, I'm obsessed with the game and I have to finish playing the game. While I'm already talking about it, let's go over the rest of my critiques. One of them being that the characters for over half of the movie seem to be pretty nonchalant about the scary things that are happening. Like, there will be straight up crazy, scary, unexplainable things happening right in front of them, but they don't grow concerned, they don't raise their voice, they don't scream.
Am I tripping, or does that painting kind of look like...
Me.
Yeah.
It's not your typical horror movie performance. Say what you want about Unfriended, but at least the characters reacted realistically to the situations they were put in.
Put down a finger and we'll see.
She already said it. Stop pushing
Yes!
Okay, where did I put that footage for the Deadware video? Maybe in here? What the? Open me. That seems kind of scary. Whoa, channel memberships are only 99 cents. What kind of ghostly presents put this here? That's right, channel memberships are only 99 cents, where you can get exclusive content such as movie reviews for the year's biggest movies, such as all the videos you see on screen right now and more. So it's only 99 cents. Consider getting a membership. And back to the video. My next critique is that compared to other movies in this genre, like Unfriended or Searching, this movie seems to be pretty static, because when you're stuck on a computer screen, there's not a lot of movement. But in the movies I mentioned previously, there are windows being dragged around, the mouse is moving all over the place, people are typing in a chat, But in this movie, it's pretty much the two characters on the right side of the screen and then the video game on the other side of the screen, and things don't really move. Good news is that the story and mystery is intriguing enough to keep you watching without having to do crazy movement, but I do think some movement in some way more could elevate this movie even more. And I know I just compared this to two big studio releases, and this does not have that big of a budget, so I'll give this one a pass because they had limited visual effects. My last critique isn't necessarily a critique, just something I was more interested in and wanted to do more research about. See, the movie takes place in 1999, and truth be told, I wasn't alive back then. I grew up with the Danimals sweepstakes and the iDog. So I had to look up, did video chat really exist in 1999? And the answer is yes. During the late 90s, the average person could buy a webcam to hook up to their computer, and video chats were a real thing. But also I wanted to look up, was screen sharing a capability of these computers? Because that is how Megan is able to share her screen with Jay, who can see the video game. And from my research, again, yes, you could screen share back then. But the one thing I'm not sure you could have done is that Jay is able to control the mouse and keyboard and stuff while Megan is screen sharing, and I don't think you can even do that over Zoom nowadays, so I don't know if it was likely that you could do that in the late 90s. The other thing I clocked is that Jay mentions Amy ghosted him, and from my research, the term ghosted was created around the early 2000s and really popularized by 2015. So maybe you can stretch it to say it was around in 1999, but again, for all this, all you viewers who were around back then, sorry to make you feel old by talking about all this, not my intention. But if you do want to share your stories about video chatting, screen sharing, or using the word ghosted back then, please let me know. Okay, and actually one last thing, sorry. For the year 1999, it seems like these people have a really good video quality and internet speed and frame rate. There's not really a point where the characters lag or cut out or anything, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but you can take a page from the Unfriended rulebook and have the characters just lag a little bit. Maybe not as much as they do in Unfriended, but maybe use it for like a scare. Maybe one of the characters' video quality drops a bit and they get all pixelated, and then you can see like a blur behind them in the background, and you're like, wait, what is that behind them? And then the video quality restores and the blur is gone, and you're like, whoa, that was scary. Just something like that. And I know it's important to be able to see the characters' faces clearly and read their facial expressions, so I'm not too mad about this, but it did get me thinking that I would love to see a found footage horror movie shot on one of those Game Boy cameras. Okay, with the critiques out of the way, it's time to compliment sandwich this, because oh my god, did you know that this movie was only made by 4 people? 4 of them. And 2 were only actors. This one picture is literally all of the credits right here. Deadware was written, directed, and edited by Isaac Rodriguez. The producer, Sarah Froelich, also played Megan in the movie, and there are the 2 other actors that play Jay and Amy. And according to IMDb, this only had a budget of $10,000, which is just so impressive. If you watch this movie, you can have whatever opinion you want about it, but there's no denying that this is just inspiring to anyone who wants to make a movie, because it shows all you really need is 2 webcams and some editing skills. Because I'm assuming with the title of editor, Isaac Rodriguez had to just go in and make the entire video game himself, which is just awesome. And the other awesome thing is that it's not like I was out there searching for niche indie horror movies, found footage, take place on a computer. It's not like I typed that into Amazon Prime and this came up. This was on my suggested feed, which is crazy. We can sit here and talk bad about the Amazon company all day. Trust me, I can. But hey, at least it has a streaming service whose recommendation algorithm pushes out indie low-budget movies made by no-names instead of just popping up whatever recent Hollywood big-budget movie came out that week. While editing this video, I realized the entire movie is up on YouTube for free, so you can go check it out that way too. I'll link it in the description. So congratulations to all 4 people who worked on this movie. I wish them long and prosperous careers. Deadware is genre-bending, intriguing, and straight up scary at moments. I was watching this wearing headphones and I had to take my headphones off a little bit because I was getting so scared. It also does not give you answers. It does not hold your hand, and the ending is totally up to interpretation. So I'm assuming there has to be at least one Deadware ending explained video here on YouTube, and if there's not, maybe I should make it, I don't know. But in the meantime, check out one of these videos that I definitely did make.